welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be having some fun. I have recently asked on my Instagram for 12 people, like anybody could do it, to give me 12 books to read this year. And you guys delivered. So I told them that everybody who let me or gave me a book would get a shout out, and then I would talk about the book some. So I have my trusty Kindle here, and I have all the books basically queued up. That way I can go over them and just kind of let you guys know what they're about, and what I'm getting myself into. So this is going to be a really laid back episode. I actually just made myself some cappuccino, some pumpkin spice cappuccino. So grab yourself a cup, get cozy, and we're going to go over 12 books I'm going to read in 2023. Okay, so the very first book on my list is The Name of the Wind, and this is by Patrick Rothfuss. This book comes recommended by @horrorbookworm. So it's @horror.bookworm, and I'll put the spelling of it and everything somewhere, and as well as the picture of this book. But this is The Name of the Wind, and so this book is supposed to be like some kind of high fantasy from what I can tell. The description is told in Kavoth's own voice. This is the tale of the magically gifted young man who grows to be the most notorious wizard his world has ever seen. The intimate narrative of his childhood in a troupe of traveling players, his years spent as a near feral orphan in a crime-ridden city, his daringly brazen yet successful bid to enter a legendary school of magic, and his life as a fugitive after the murder of a king form a gripping coming-of-age story unrivaled in recent literature. A high-action story written with a poet's hand, The Name of the Wind is a masterpiece that will transport readers into the body and mind of a wizard. This book is 662 pages, so I am starting off the year with a biggin. I actually did order this from Pango Books just because with fantasies and stuff, I find that it's easier for me to read them than to listen. This and see how it is. So thank you again, horror.bookworm, for recommending me this book, and I hope I enjoy it. So the next book on my list comes from @books.plants.and.tea. And we've actually done a buddy read on Outlander before. It was a blast. So thank you so much for recommending me a book. But this book is Buried Deception by Amanda McKinney. And this book says in the Pulse Racing first installment of the On the Edge series, a criminal psychologist teams up with former Marine on a deadly Winland mission. Not even their hearts can stay out of harm's way. So in the swamps of East Texas, alligators aren't the only danger lurking in the shadows. After a young woman is brutally attacked on a popular hiking trail, the evidence points to the notorious Black Cat Stalker. The town of Skull Hollow enlists Dr. Mia Frost to provide a psychological profile and assist in the investigation. When another person goes missing, Mia partners with Easton Crew, former Marine and current CEO of Tactical Tracking Company. Both Mia and Easton are stubborn, strong-willed, and independent, but neither can deny the smoldering attraction between them. As professional lines blur, Easton starts to question Mia's motives and worries she's getting too close to the investigation. The mystery begins to unravel, but so does Mia's mental health, as the clues dredge up her own haunted past. It soon becomes evident that things aren't always as they seem, and people aren't always who they say they are. So it sounds great. It sounds like my Criminal Minds loving self will love it. So I cannot wait to read this one. And it's actually on Kindle Unlimited, so I can get it for free. So thank you so much again, Books, Plants, and Tea, for recommending me that. And go check out their Instagram page. All right. The next book on my list is Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. And I'm so sorry if I butchered that. But this book comes recommended from Motivima, and let me spell that for you. It's the @ sign, obviously, Motivaima. So they recommended this to me, and let's see what this book's about. In a hidden desert city of Quela, secret spice magic awakens affinities in those who drink the Misra tea. With an affinity for iron, 17-year-old Imani wields a dagger like no other warrior, garnering her the reputation as the next greatest shield for battling dangerous jinn, ghouls, and other monsters that lurk in the sands beyond city limits. Her reputation has been overshadowed, however, by her brother, who tarnished the family name after he was discovered stealing their nation's coveted spice, a telltale sign of magical obsession. He disappeared soon after, believed to have died beyond the forbidden waste, and leaving Amani reeling with both betrayal and grief. But when Amani uncovers evidence her brother may be alive, spreading their nation's magic beyond the desert, she strikes a deal with the council to find him and bring him back to Quela before he can reveal the city's location. Accompanied by Kan, a roguish but handsome djinn, and Taha, a powerful beast seer whose magical talents are matched only by his arrogance, they set out on a mission. Amani will soon discover there are many secrets that lie beyond the forbidden waste and in her own heart, but will she find her brother before his betrayals endanger the fate of Ala Kuala? Wow, this sounds pretty good. It really reminds me of An Ember in the Ashes, and I love that book, so this sounds like it'll be perfect for me. Thank you so much, Motivina. All right, next up on the list is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which is a very popular book talk book that I still have not read yet. And this comes from at my_favorite_reads_21. So thank you for this recommendation. And just in case you don't know what this book is about, let me read you the synopsis. On September 5th, a little after midnight, Deaf Cass calls Mateo, Torres, and Rufus Materio to give them some bad news. They're going to die today. Mateo and Rufus are total strangers, but for different reasons, they're both looking to make a new friend on their end day. The good news, there's an app for that. It's called The Last Friend, and through it, Rufus and Mateo are about to meet up for one last great adventure to live a lifetime in a single day. So yeah, I know it's young adult, and a lot of people cry in it, but I'm kind of heartless, so we'll see if I actually cry or not. Next up on The Price is Right is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. This book comes recommended from at Casey, Kacy, Reads Books. And let's see, this book is about Marguerite Kane's physicist parents are known for their groundbreaking achievements. Their most astonishing invention, called the Firebird, allows users to jump into multiple universes and promises to revolutionize science forever. But then Marguerite's father is murdered, and the killer, her parents' handsome, enigmatic assistant Paul, escapes into another dimension before the law can touch him. Marguerite refuses to let the man who destroyed her family go free, so she races after Paul through different universes, always leaping into another version of herself. But she also meets alternate versions of the people she knows, including Paul, whose life entangles with hers in increasingly familiar ways. Before long, she begins to question Paul's guilt, as well as her own heart, and soon she discovers the truth behind her father's death, and is far more sinister than she expected. That sounds really good. I actually I've seen the book cover, but I've never read the description of this. So I need to go back to McKay's, because I always see this book in McKay's, and I can pick it up for really cheap. The next book is Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott, my bad, I'm sorry. And this book comes recommended from at Gold and Iron Hair. I know this book, it was in one of the book of the months. I didn't get it, but I know it's about like Baba Yaga, I think, in a moving house with chicken feet. Which, if you played, Tomb Raider, there was a whole Baba Yaga. Like the second Tomb Raider is a whole Baba Yaga scene, like where you have to go into like this town and investigate, and there's a house on chicken legs and stuff. It was pretty cool. So, but this book is about the Yaga sisters, Bellatine, a young woodworker, and Isaac, a wayfaring street performer and con artist, have been estranged since childhood, separated both by resentment and wide miles of American highway. But when they learn that they are to receive a mysterious inheritance, the siblings are reunited, only to discover that their bequest isn't land or money, but something far stranger, a sentient house on chicken legs. Told you. Thistlefoot, as the house is called, has arrived from the Yaga's ancestral home in Russia, but not alone. A sinister figure known only as the Long Shadow Man has tracked it to American shores, bearing with him violent secrets from the past. Fiery memories that have hidden in Isaac and Bellatine's blood for generations. As the Yaga's siblings embark with Thistlefoot on a final cross-country tour of their family's traveling theater show, The Long Shadow Man follows in relentless pursuit, seeding destruction in his wake. Ultimately, time, magic, and legacy must collide, erupting in a powerful conflagration to determine who gets to remember the past and craft a new future. An enchanted adventure illuminated by Jewish myth and adorned with lyrical prose as tantalizing and sweet as briar berries, Thistlefoot is an immersive modern fantasy saga by a bold new talent. So that sounds pretty good, actually. I'll be interesting. I really like folklore stuff, so it sounds pretty good. The next book is Hex by Thomas Old Hulvelt. Hope I said that right. And this is recommended by @WeepingReads. And I've actually heard about this book on the Books in the Freezer podcast, so it was already kind of on my radar, and this just gives me a kick in the butt to go ahead and read it. Okay, so this book is about, whoever is born here is doomed to stay till death. Whoever settles never leaves. Welcome to Black Spring, the seemingly picturesque Hudson Valley town haunted by Black Rock Witch, a 17th century woman whose eyes and mouth are sewn shut. Muzzled, she walks the streets and enters homes at will. She stands next to children's beds for nights on end. That sounds like fun. Everybody knows that her eyes may never be opened or the consequences will be too terrible to bear. The elders of Black Spring had virtually quarantined the town using high-tech surveillance to prevent their curse from spreading. Frustrated with being kept in lockdown, the town's teenagers decide to break the strict regulations and go viral with the haunting. Wow. But in doing so, they send the town spiraling into dark medieval practices of the distant past. This chilling novel heralds the arrival of an exciting new voice in mainstream horror and dark fantasy. Darn kids. Always trying to go viral. Not like I'm not trying to go viral with my Instagram posts anyway. Sounds actually really good. So yeah. Okay, this one I had to look up how to say the name of the book because I did not want to butcher it, and hopefully I remember here in the next 2 seconds. This book comes recommended from my good friend @Tiff's Book Journey. I'll put that up there for us. And this book is The Inheritance of Ordica Divina. Frick, I messed it up. The Inheritance of Ordica Divina by Zoradia Cordova. Wow, I should be fired. I'm not getting paid though. Okay, and this book is the Montoyas are used to a life without explanation. They know better than to ask why pantry never seems to run low or empty, or why their matriarch won't ever leave their home in Four Rivers, even for graduations, weddings, or baptisms. But when Ordica Divia invites them to her funeral and to collect their inheritance, they hope to learn the secrets that she has held onto so tightly their whole lives. Instead, Ordica is transformed, leaving them with more questions than answers. 7 years later, her gifts have manifested in different ways for them. Marmar Ray and Tantalili, daughters Rhiannon, granting them unexpected blessings, but soon a hidden figure begins to tear through the family tree, picking them off one by one as it seeks to destroy Ordica's line. Determined to save what's left of their family and uncover the truth behind their inheritance, the four descendants travel to Ecuador, to the place where Ordica buried her secrets and broken promises never looked back. That was a lot of names I could not pronounce. But that sounds really good. I got that in my book of the month like ages ago, so it'll be the fire I need to read it. All right, we are on to book 9, if my Goodreads will load. Thank you, Goodreads. Okay, it loaded and then I refreshed it by accident and now it went away. Okay. So this one is also recommended by @my_favorite_reads_21. Got it. And this is the 100 Years of Lenny and Margaret. And this is by Marianne Cronin. Now I've heard this is a really good book. So life is short. No one knows that better than 17-year-old Lenny living on the terminal ward. But as she is about to learn, it is not only what you make of life that matters, but who you share it with. Dodging doctor's orders, she joins an art class where she bumps into fellow patient Margaret, a rebel-hearted 83-year-old from the next ward. Their bond is instant as they realize that together they have lived an astonishing 100 years. To celebrate their shared century, they decide to paint their life stories of growing old and staying young, of giving joy, of receiving kindness, of losing love, of finding the person who is everything. As their extraordinary friendship deepens, it becomes vividly clear that life is not done with Lenny and Margaret yet. Oh, that sounds so good. Oh my gosh. That sounds really good. And like, I would have read that description if it wasn't suggested to me. Thank you so much for suggesting that. That's going to be a fun read. Or not a fun read. It's going to be a heartbreaking read, but I can't wait to read it. So, next up is Breathless by Amy. Come on, thing, read. Or load. Amy McCullough. And this is recommended to me by at Victoria Book Euphoria. Thank you, Victoria Book Euphoria. And this is another book that was in a book of the month. I have not gotten it yet. I probably should have gotten it, but I didn't. But I'll probably just get it through Book of the Month or Pango Books, one of the two. And this is supposed to be, from what I remember, a thriller about being in the cold and the mountains and something like that, and a murder on a mountain in the cold. Anyway, let's read the description and find out what it's actually about. So, journalist Cecilie Wong is in over her head. She's come to Mansleu, the 8th highest peak in the world, to interview internationally famous mountaineer Charles McVeigh on the last leg of a record-breaking series of summits. She's given up everything for this story, her boyfriend, her life savings, the peace she made with her climbing failures in the past, but it's a career-making opportunity. It could finally put her life back on track. But when one climber dies in what everybody else assumes is a freak accident, she fears their expedition is in danger, and by the time a second climber dies, it's too late to turn back. Stranded on a mountain in one of the most remote regions of the world, she'll have to battle more than the elements in a harrowing fight to survive against a killer who's picking them off one by one. That sounds good. That sounds very good. Okay, next up is The Woman in the Window by AJ Flynn. Or Finn, my bad. AJ Finn. And this comes from at Queen _ I want to say Pikachu, but it's not. It's Pika CH24. So Pika, Pika CH24. And I always call her Queen Pikachu though. And this book I actually do own. It's behind me somewhere. I still have not read it yet, so it's perfect. Another fire to light. But I know this was turned into a Netflix movie, I think. And I think it's very similar to like Disturbia, where somebody's being voyeuristic and looking out the window and they see something they shouldn't have, I think. Let's see. Anna Fox lives alone, a recluse in her New York City home, unable to venture outside. She spends her day drinking wine, maybe too much, watching old movies, recalling happier times, and spying on the neighbors. Then the Russells move into the house across the way, a father, a mother, and their teenage son. The perfect family. But when Anna, gazing out her window one night, sees something she shouldn't, her world begins to crumble and its shocking secrets are laid bare. What is real? What is imagined? Who's in danger? Who is in control? Is this diabolically gripping thriller? No one and nothing is what it seems. Or in this diabolically gripping thriller, no one and nothing is what it seems. That sounds good. I still can't believe I haven't read it yet. And last but not least, we have Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. And this is, again, recommended by at books.plants.and.t. And from what it looks like, this is a holiday rom-com, so I'm definitely saving this for December. Okay, let's see. She's meant to be catching flights, not catching feelings. Molly and Andrew are just trying to get home to Ireland for the holidays when a freak snowstorm grounds their flight. Nothing romantic has ever happened between them. They're friends, and that's all. But once a year, for the last 10 years, Molly has spent 7 hours and 15 minutes sitting next to Andrew on their last flight before Christmas from Chicago to Dublin, drinking terrible airplane wine and catching up on each other's lives in spite of the way the two friends are different. It's the holiday tradition neither of them has ever wanted to give up. Molly isn't that bothered by Christmas, but in yet another way, they're total opposites. Andrew is full-on fanatic for the festive season, and she knows how much getting back to Ireland means to him. So instead of doing the same thing and just celebrating the holidays together in America, she does the stupid thing, the irrational thing. She vows to get him home, and in time for his mam's famous Christmas dinner. The clock is ticking, but Molly always has a plan. And as long as the highly specific combination of taxis, planes, boats, and trains all run on time, it can't possibly go wrong. What she doesn't know is that as the snow falls over the city and over the heads of the two friends who are sure they're not meant to be together, the universe might just have a plan of its own. So that sounds good. It'll be perfect next December for a holiday rom-com read. So that has been 12 books recommended by 12 friends. I want to thank everybody on Instagram who gave me a book to read. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And I hope to be genuinely surprised by some of these books. I cannot wait to read them and report back and let you guys know how I liked them. If you have any book suggestions for me, just comment down low. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Pages and Ash. And as always, see you guys in the next video. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this one. Bye.